This is Mike Brewer behind the wheel. Automotive news, automotive advice, and tyre smoking fun. Join me, the Brit with the wit, and my car-loving co-host, Brad Fanshaw. Hello everyone, it's Mike Brewer behind the wheel, and I'm looking forward to taking you on a journey of motoring, expertise, fun, facts, and all the stuff that we embrace ourselves with, this wonderful hobby that we love, the classic car and motoring world. Now, together, we are going to go down this journey, but the man who always grabs the passenger door, and I do like travelling with him because he's always got the best snacks, he always shouts shotgun whenever I'm hitting the road, is my passenger, and he seems very willing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brad Fanshaw.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm all right, Brad. Yeah, ready for the journey?
I am. I'm always looking forward to these because you take us to the best places.
Anyway, let's hit the road.
Let's go.
Hello everyone, it's Mike Brewer, and we have driven, me and Brad, on the road today to one of the most fabulous things that happens across Southern California. In fact, it's happening all across America right now, and it's spreading globally. It's called Cars and Coffee Events.
Yeah, and we've been proposing for a later afternoon cars and maybe
cocktails.
Cars and cocktails.
Cars and cocktails. Yeah. I mean, this morning me and Brad had to get up at the crack of dawn to come to an event. It's one that I go to regularly. And so first of all, let me apologise if we are fighting the noise of traffic and aeroplanes above our head and people walking by. That's because we're at a live event, and that's what we wanted to bring you this morning, a live event at a car show. And you can hear an aeroplane just about to take off over my head. But Brad, this happens across America now. It started here in Southern California. So what is Cars and Coffee?
The great thing about Cars and Coffee is it's those morning gatherings of like-minded guys who are into, guys and gals that are into cars, into bikes, anything motorized, and they all show up. They grab a nice, Joe or whatever, their morning tea or whatever, and just all look at each other's cars, visit, talk about their dreams and what they can do in the automotive culture, and that's what's so great about it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And the odd thing about this, Brad, the really odd thing is that we're standing in a car park at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning it'd be empty. Everyone goes home. This is the shortest car show in the world.
It is. It's great because they all show up. I mean, during the winter, when out here we benefit from having mild winters.
Beautiful.
And this goes all year round. You show up here, and I've gotten here, and I know you have, and it's dark out. The guys are pulling in with flashlights.
Yes, of course, yeah. I make sure the headlamps are working on my car when I come down in my Classic in the winter. And it's cold, but the parking lot's full. I mean, this place is full all year round. I mean, it always is. Sometimes we're double parked there. So let me tell you where we are. This car show this morning and that aeroplane taken off my head may give you a clue. We are under the flight path of John Wayne Airport. Yeehaw!
Yeah, John Wayne, the Duke.
Yeah, the Duke. I met him once. So we're under the flight path of John Wayne Airport. This is a peninsula that sticks out on the southern coastal Californian highway, if you like, and it's a little peninsula that's called the Newport Peninsula, and at the end of that peninsula you'll find the Fun Zone, and in the Fun Zone car park you're going to find every Sunday morning this Cars and Coffee event. I've been coming here for the last 4 years. It's a fabulous little local car show. I love coming down here, meeting the local folks. There's always an eclectic mix of cars, some of which we're going to be talking about at the moment. But me and you, Brad, when we left the house this morning, we turned up in this bad boy.
I was just going to say, 65 Mustang, and Mike's got it. He's got it. I mean, this thing has original patina on it. Is this a one-owner car, Mike?
It's a one-owner car. I found this car actually about a mile away from here on an island. It was bought locally in Newport, 1965, 289 automatic power steering Mustang. It's a beautifully kept car. It's got the original patina. There's a little knock chip mark on it, on the bodywork. It's only original once, so leave it that way. And I found the car locally, and do you know what? I drive this car every weekend, and you jump in, turn the key, and away it goes. And when I picked you up this morning and we cruised down the Pacific Coast Highway into this car park, what a great car to bring to a car show.
It is, and what's cool about it is the interior's all original, and it's got that smell. You know how these cars have
sorry about that, Brad.
No. We're talking the good smell, not that smell. But no, they do. They've got it, and this one has the pony rally wheels on it, and these were the beginning of the pony race. I mean, that whole race to the top. Who's bigger and better?
In fact, if you think about it, this is sort of the car that started the whole beginning of what we're doing right now. Standing in a car park talking about cars like this. And this car park is full of an eclectic mix of cars. And we'll run through a few of them and more we're going to talk about in detail. We're looking at a beautiful late 1960s Mercedes 280 SL. There is a wonderful Pantera parked next to it. There's a Bonneville over there, which is absolutely gorgeous. We've got a Lincoln Continental convertible, 4-door in blue, the same car that President Kennedy would have been in.
Suicide
doors, just absolutely stunning. And as me and you were standing here this morning, parking up our little Mustang, in behind us came a wonderful 4-barrel Plymouth Roadrunner.
And let me correct you on that. That's a 6-barrel car.
6-barrel car.
Yeah, so it has 3 2-barrels in a row.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Beep, beep. Yeah, nice one. So we've got all this eclectic mix of cars, more we're going to talk about. But Cars and Coffee events is something that you can get involved in. I'm pretty sure wherever you are in the world, it doesn't have to be right here in California. You could be in Germany, you could be in Australia. I know we've got listeners from all over the world. Thank you. Thank you very much for making us the #1 automotive podcast in the world. Me and Brad are very pleased about that. And wherever you are in the world, I'm pretty sure that you can find a local event that you can get involved in and turn up yourself. Just turn up with your car, park it up and talk to people. It really does change the way your weekend works.
And you know, Mike, the thing about Cars and Coffee is if you're looking to get into the hobby, let's say you don't have a car to bring, there's a lot of knowledge at these gatherings.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Here, right, so
you and I are here, right?
Yeah, we are here. So here, right, they have, this is a kind of unique little car show. Here we have what we call the Ninja Committee.
Okay.
We call them the Ninja Committee because there's this group, and I'm being very kind to them here. There's this group of 80-year-old chaps that are here in the car park. They pull up with their old Mustangs, they get their deck chairs out, they sit there, and every week I turn up and I go and spend as much time as I can with them. Their knowledge of cars in this car park is like they watch cars roll in, don't say much to people, but as the cars rolling, you can hear them between each other going, oh yeah, that's the 6-barrel. That one's got the 5 rear wheels on it, so that must mean it's got the 9-inch rear quarter rear end on it. And they are just talking car knowledge, and it's just pouring out of them. And they're great people to tap into, as you say, if you want to find out about a car, you want to find out what's hot in the market, what to buy, and what to look out for. They're the kind of people you need to tap into.
They might even know of something you're looking for. So let's say you're, like right now, these 2 little lowered, slammed, what we call California bugs, because they're hot rodded VW bugs. If you were into those would be the guys you'd go over to and go, so tell me about these. What's it all about? How do they ride when they're lowered? How, and you could get all that knowledge that you'd never get just by, of course, the guy who's, if we're selling a car, we give knowledge and we want to inform the buyer, but at the same time, the enthusiast is going to tell you what it's like.
Exactly.
And then you make friends.
Exactly. You get a number, you make a friend, and that was kind of nice. We were standing here talking, and those 2 little slam bugs just rolled by at the perfect time. Cute-looking cars. So let's talk a bit more in detail about some of these cars. Let's right next to us, and we're going to take some pictures, me and Brad, of these cars, and we're going to put them up online to support this podcast. So if you're listening and downloading this podcast and you want to know what we're talking about, go to the Twitter feed, Mike Brewer Behind the Wheel, or the website, Mike Brewer Behind the Wheel. You go to those 2 places, and you're going to find pictures of these cars that we're talking about. First of all, and
just at Mike Brewer Behind the Wheel, MikeBrewerBTW.com. There'll be a gallery section on there. And so when we go to events like this, they can see a gallery of all the images.
Perfect.
So,
Okay. So let's talk about this car that's right next to us.
Wow.
I don't know where to start, really, because I think, personally, it's sacrilegious.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I do, because I'm the proud owner of a beautiful 1959 MGA myself.
Okay.
And I'm doing a full rotisserie nut and bolt restoration on that car.
And so yours is going to look just like this one?
I hope not, because the one that's parked next to me, and when you see it on the pictures, people, you'll see what I'm talking about. This car has got no hood on it or no bonnet on it, and the reason is it wouldn't be able to fit one because of the size of the engine.
That is a Roots supercharged small block Chevy motor.
There you go. I mean, it should have a little 4-cylinder, 1600cc, little Austin engine in
Yes.
it. And then we look down to the rear of the car, and it's got probably, 12-inch rear wheels. And I'm talking 12-inch wide. Wide, not in depth. 12-inch wide rear wheels, which means it's got some big rear axle on it to keep this car stuck to the ground. It's actually got side pipes as well. This is an MGA with side pipes. What's going on?
I think what happened here is they put an MGA in a garage with one of Carroll Shelby's 427 Cobras,
Yes.
And they made it. They made it.
That's exactly what they've tried to do.
Because the side pipes look just like a Shelby. Now, that rear end you were talking about,
Yep.
It's got those big Willwood rear disc brakes, and the tires, I was looking at it earlier, Mike, those are called cheater slicks. So they're super sticky street tires that are like a slick, but they have just a tiny bit of tread in them so that they get away legally, and they call them cheater slicks on the street.
Well, that's probably, and I know because I'm an owner of an MGA, that's probably the world's fastest MGA.
Yes.
You know, the original designer never intended that car to go quite as quickly as that one does. But listen, I like, I find it sacrilege, but I admire the personalisation of it. I think the guy that's done it has done an amazing job. There is a crowd of people around it right now as we're talking, so people clearly love it. But yeah, a beautiful looking car if it's your thing.
Now, let me set your mind at ease, and for all of the owners of MGs around the world that are listening.
Yes.
I'm just going to put a little story here. I just made it up, but that car had been totally wiped out in a serious accident. He brought it back from the junkyard.
Well, then it's a completely different story, isn't it?
See,
because,
now we
don't-
saved it.
Yeah, now I don't mind it. See, now I don't mind it. Putting any car back on the road is a good thing. But, you know, that is personalisation to an extreme level. And I like it. You know, I like it for that. I don't like it aesthetically, but I like it for that. It's a great car.
And you know what? That is what this whole car hobby is about, because there's a lot of cars that I see and I go, there's quality in that car. Boy, look at it. I'd never drive it myself, but to that guy, it's the coolest thing in the world.
And what are we doing, Brad? Me and you are standing here talking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's brokered a conversation. Me and you are having a conversation about it. Right, now let's move on to the car that's next to it.
Wow.
Okay.
Another wow.
Another wow. Right, now you were telling me, you and another good friend of ours, John Gilbert, he's from Motor Trend. John and you were standing there goofing off about when in the 70s, these were two a penny. Nobody wanted them.
Yeah, now this particular car, this one is the Roadrunner version, which they called the, there was the Super Bird.
Yep.
And this one, I'm going blank on it. Help me here.
Right,
Do you remember what it's called?
Well, the Super Bird, and then you got the Plymouth Roadrunner. Beep, beep.
Yeah, but this one is the Plymouth Roadrunner. It had a little bit different name, and my mind just went blank on it. But these are the cars that they built specifically to dominate NASCAR's big tracks.
Yep.
Before aerodynamics, they went, we're pushing bricks around these tracks. What do we do? So they came up with this Endura rubber front nose that looked like a bullet. And then they put on some little ducting to buff it on the front fenders. And then in the back, a 3.5-foot tall wing.
It has to be the tallest wing on any road car out there. It must be, because I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's huge. And emblazoned on the side of it is that famous cartoon character,
the Roadrunner, yeah.
And underneath that, we've got on that side wing or side fender written in big letters Plymouth, so you know exactly what you're driving. This car finished in white. It's got a beautiful black vinyl top. It's a beautiful interior. It's got the 440 engine. That is just something else, that car now, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, these cars have come into their own. They're worth a ton of money because of the
so
rarity.
Let's talk about the 70s. You said to me about the 70s.
So I'm in high school, and I would drive, this car is like about a 71, maybe a 70, and I would drive to school, and there was a tire store in Omaha, Nebraska, and this guy would buy these cars from the dealers, brand new on the dealership. They could not sell them.
Wow.
Nobody wanted them.
Wow.
Even if they had a Hemi motor in it, and they didn't want them because they looked at them as being goofy. I mean, look at that rear quarter panel.
Yeah.
What kind of car is that, Mike?
Well, it's a Plymouth.
Exactly, because the letters are 2 foot tall and go down the length of the car.
Exactly.
And people went, yeah, why do you have to put? Well, in NASCAR, they were trying to duplicate that look. And the rules in NASCAR is that to compete as a competitive car, they had to build 200.
Yeah, so you have to have an homologation
And
car.
they had, yes, homologation, and it had to be where you or I could go in and buy them. Well, so they put them on the dealer lots, and people went, you got to be kidding me.
Nobody's going to buy that.
So these cars were sitting on lots, and guys like this tire store owner bought them up. And, he had an affinity for them, I guess. But we'd drive by, and he'd have for sale on them. I could have bought a car like that with probably less than 500 miles for back in the 70s for like $2,500.
Right, now let's say $2,500.
Yeah.
Okay, right now that's about £1,500, right? Now let's just tell you what that means today, because that tyre shop owner, right, currently me and you are standing on the most expensive real estate in North America. Okay,
Yes,
Newport is the most expensive real estate in North America. There are houses around us that cost $30, $40 million. Plenty of houses here cost $5 million, but there's some super homes here. Right, now, that guy in the tyre shop, he's going to live in one of those houses. I'll tell you for why.
Yeah.
Because today, one of these cars, we are talking way into the six figures, aren't we?
That car right there, if it was in the condition that it looks like it's an excellent, like I haven't looked it over, but probably an A-rated car.
Yeah.
With that 440 and the optional six-pack, that car's about $170,000 car.
So if the guy had 14 of those that he paid $2,500 for back in the day in the 70s, he lives in one of those super homes right now, doesn't he?
And if that car had the 426 Hemi in it, it's $250,000 or more.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So now let's walk around the car park a little bit more, and let's look at, we've got this this group of Panteras. Now, I think, Brad, I've got an itch. You know, every now and then I get an itch. I had the itch for the Mustang, so I went and bought one. Then I had an itch for a 911, and so I went and bought one. Now I've got to sell the Mustang, unfortunately, make space. And now I've got an itch for a blooming Pantera. What's going on here? Why do I like a Pantera?
You know why? Because Panteras, again, those were kind of one of those cars that that for a long time were kind of like the car that nobody wanted, because they had the supercar looks designed by De Tomaso, but they had that 351 Ford motor in them. And people kind of went, no, it's not a supercar. It's not a muscle car. And then all of a sudden people started realizing, wait a minute, the styling of that car was way ahead of its time. Yeah. The engineering, putting the mid-axle and the transaxle with the mid-motor, everything about that car, people finally woke up and realized, these are damn nice cars.
Yeah, you think about it, it's the same layout as a Ford GT40.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly the same layout as that.
And look, we have the opportunity right here. One's parked with its rear end to us and the other with its nose. We can see both angles. They're a beautiful car.
Amazing
yes.
car. I absolutely, and that's why I've got this itch. I've got this nervous itch that I need to scratch. So at some point, I've got to go and find one. In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, Brad, you know what I've done?
Are you
my phone out.
bidding on a car?
Yeah, no, I'm going to take a picture so people can see exactly what
see
we're
the
seeing.
angle what we see.
Yeah,
now I can tell you another story. Kind of look back. Again, when I lived in the Midwest of America, there was a guy that had one of these, and he was able to pick it up for a pretty good bargain, and he hot rodded it. He built that motor up, and he used to bring it down to where we cruised, and he had nitrous bottles in it. And
nice.
it was incredible.
I mean, you think about it; those cars, they're quite light. They're lightweight, big Ford engine out the rear-wheel drive, Italian design and styling. I know a guy that turns up at this car show. I absolutely love this guy. He's a really cool guy. His name's Kip. He turns up here, and he had this black one that he used to turn up in. It was just the most sensational looking Pantera, and everyone stand and stared at this car as it came past, and he used to park it up, get out, and it looked really cool. And then he turned up one day driving a Lamborghini Gallardo.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, what's going on, Kip? Because it looks, Lamborghini Gallardo looks kind of similar to a Pantera, and it was also black. And I said, what's going on, Kip? And he said, I just went to a Lamborghini dealership and swapped my Pantera for a Gallardo. And I was really angry with him, because I'm saying, what? No, you've just gone and bought a car that loads of people have got, and you got
that
out
anybody
of a car.
can have.
Yeah, anyone can have, and not many people can have a Pantera. But no, he wanted a turnkey car that he could drive every day. But beautiful to see here in the car park.
And look at the rear tires under that black one.
Oh, my God.
Now, this car came with a 15-inch rear wheel that was like an F78 or something like that on a Campanello wheel. but now look at what you can do under there. That's
amazing.
probably a 325 tire under the stock sheet metal.
It just looks like, is it me, or does that car look like it's doing over 100 miles an hour stationary?
Yeah, it's a great looking car. And you know what I'm mad about? I'm angry that I didn't buy one 10 years ago when you could still get them for $25,000, $30,000.
I know, it's crazy. That's why I got one, as I say, I got an itch. This guy's bought this red one down to tease me with it. He wants $140,000 for that.
Is that why he put plates on it that say Brewer?
Yes, correct. That's £100,000. Crazy money, and way beyond my very short pockets, unfortunately. So this is what I like about this, though, Brad. Me and you are goofing off and salivating off over these two Panteras, and parked right next to the Panteras in this very eclectic mix. We've got a Dodge Power Wagon.
I know. Talk about a juxtaposition. You've got this car that's flat and down on the ground, and right next to it, lifted up with the big utility tires and those steel wheels. And that's just a great-looking Power Wagon.
It's amazing.
And it just looks muscular, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's amazing. And that one is in Concours condition. And this is what I like about this hobby, okay? So there's people here that have turned up in their 1965 Mustangs and their 57 Chevy Bel Airs and their Mercedes 280 SLs. Clearly, these are classic cars, right, that have had loads of money. People have invested $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 into making their cars beautiful. And yet somebody has gone and bought a utilitarian truck, a Power Wagon, and they've equally dumped $70,000, $80,000 into it to bring it up to better than new condition, Concours condition. And that's what I love about this, that somebody has put more money, as much money into that as it would do to go and buy yourself a second-hand Ferrari.
Oh, yeah, and this is what we talked about on episode 1, how the trucks are coming in. That was probably on a farm somewhere and just sitting in a backfield, and somebody grabbed it and put all the love, the care, and the money into it because they appreciated it. I mean, it looks like, it's kind of like here we are in California, you hear about Muscle Beach and all that.
Yep.
That one painted in that color, it looks like it's the bodybuilder of this car park right here.
If Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't driving that down to this show, he isn't walking around this car, or The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, or whatever.
Exactly.
If he's not wandering around this car with a baseball cap and sunglasses on, I'll be surprised, because it looks like it should belong to somebody like that.
And the thing that's great about these Cars and Coffee is here we've already picked out some of these just jewels, but you go over a couple aisles over and like that, and there's some cars that are truly home built. Yep. They're just fun, and they're not fancy. They're just fun built cars that these guys cruise on the weekend. And I'll guarantee you, they get as much enjoyment out of that 65 Chevelle down there that needs paint, and it's as the guy driving the Power Wagon and the Pantera. It's just what they love.
Yeah, and what I love about this is when I come down there, you can see a lot of these guys do this at home, in their garage at home. And when you're doing a home build, you need a good set of tools around you. You need some good product around you. You need stuff that you can rely on.
I'm glad you said that, because our friends at Mechanic always have something like that. And one of the things I like is that Mechanic floor jack. It has a really great look, but it's also really well thought out, because aluminum floor jacks can be expensive. Steel jacks kind of clunky. So what they did is they built a hybrid, and it's a steel lift arm with aluminum sides. Now, at 58 pounds, it's no wimp. It can still lift 2 tons. And the saddle height from 3.5 inches to 18.25 inches makes it a perfect low-profile lifting arm. So you can get under that lowered car or under the stock vehicle that you have and still have a lifting power of 4,400 pounds with overload protection. Now, you're going to want to keep this for years. So a serviceable lift arm is important. This has an integrated grease fitting for that. And the saddle, the front bumper, the lift handle, they're all padded. That way that prevents scuffs, scratches on your classic car or your daily driver. Now, we also know that have you ever carried a jack around? You want to take it with you, right? Well, you know what? This one was thought out too. We always talk about Mechanic. They have car guys. They knew the padded handle makes it easy to carry, just like a piece of luggage. One of the jokes in the industry about jacks, it's that if they can lift, but they can't roll, You don't want those big steel wheels that are going and kind of hitting the stones in the pavement and stopping short. That's why they put 3-inch urethane co-molded front wheels to improve the maneuverability and get rid of that rattle. Keep it to a minimum. Now, this jack is super high quality, and it's priced at only $199.99. Now, that's 147.35 British pounds, Mike. See, I'm starting to learn this stuff. And you know what? Go find them. Go find Mycanic. They're at Mycanic. That's MyChanic. Or go to mycanic.com. You can always find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go there. Check them out now. The Mycanic Floor Jack. Now, Mike, let's check out some more of these cars.
Thank you very much to Mycanic for sponsoring us again on this podcast. We couldn't do this show without you. Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to use a good set of tools in the workshop, make sure you got the best. That's all I say.
Yeah, built by guys that are car guys and you know, do-it-yourselfers.
Exactly. That's who we are.
That's who we are. Do-it-yourselfers.
Right. So, Brad, what happens now after this car show? 9 o'clock, right, in the morning, everyone scarpers, right? Everyone disappears, goes back to their wives. Dare I say, though, lots of wives in this car park today.
Yes.
I don't know if it's you or me or the cars, Brad, who they've come to see, but it's nice to see a lot of women here. But on Sundays, on Saturdays, people get up, come at these car shows, then they scarper at 9 o'clock. But lots of them go for, which I really like, go for little breakfast clubs.
Yes, that you're very right. And this is why a lot of the wives come along, because I've done it to my wife before where I've said, well, why don't you go along and afterwards we'll go have a nice breakfast with some friends. And she's like, okay, well, I can do that. Of course, she has to get up at 4 in the morning to beautify herself because she's a lot, you know, I'm like, no, just put on a ball cap, pull your hair back. Oh, no, I couldn't do that, you know.
Because the reason I said that is because not last week, the week before I was here, and we left the car park. I was in my Porsche, my 82 Porsche SC, and there was behind me a 57 Bel Air, two 65 Mustangs. There was a Buick Skylark or Skyrunner, I can't remember which one it was, a 1950s car. There was this eclectic mix of cars, and we all left together on a impromptu cruise, if you like.
Sure.
To go to get breakfast at a breakfast bar down the road.
And when you were on, I'm sorry,
it was just amazing. It was just, I'm looking in the rearview mirror going, this is pretty darn cool, you know. It don't get much better than that. This is really cool.
And everybody that was standing around probably thought, there's a parade. What's it for? It was
just a bunch of guys going to breakfast. So again, me and Brad are going to say to you this. We're going to say, if you've got a car in your garage and you walk out, you open the garage door, you stare at it, and you think, I love my car, I don't get it out enough, I don't use it enough. No matter where you are in the world, we urge you to just seek out your local area, go and find yourself a local car event. These Cars and Coffee events are free. You don't have to pay to enter. You can just turn up with your car. If you're shy and you're shy about your car, I turn up with a ratty-looking Mustang 1965. I'm proud of my car. There's lots of people here got show cars and concours cars, but there are people here that have just got ordinary cars. Don't be shy about your car. Just get your car out there, drive it to an event and share it with people and start talking.
No, absolutely. And the thing about it is, we said it before, you're gonna meet new friends, you're gonna see some cars, you're gonna learn about cars, and it's a great opportunity to get your butt out of bed early too, because sometimes on the weekend it's like, for me, I'm like, well, you know, I could sleep another hour, and then I go, no, there's Cars and Coffee this morning. I'm going to go down to that.
Netflix in the bedroom.
I
That's
know.
What I say.
You stay up too late.
Who thought that was a good idea? Putting a smart TV in the bedroom. I can't get it. Look at this cruising past us. Look.
Oh, there we go, man. A 33 Ford, full fenders. I mean, that thing's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Roadster as well. Nice.
A pale yellow. That's what's so cool. I mean, when we look around down here, there are Corvettes. There's, as you said, these 50s era cars, the Mercedes, the Panteras, the MG that you're in love with. But we've got flamed El Caminos. We got a couple guys down there with Minis, with Mini Coopers, and then we've got a Hellcat. There's a little bit of everything. And, you know, you've been coming to this, I've been coming to this, and as you said, it becomes to be kind of like a group of guys. There's the regulars, then there's the people that meander in, and everybody makes them feel welcome.
Yes, they do. Brad, keep talking for a minute. I want you to tell people some other stuff. I'll tell you for why, because I remembered we had a really good question in.
I was going to ask you if we had a question, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of thing. Now, this wasn't a question that came in, but I'm going to give you a bit of advice, because what it is that this morning I was going to drive one of my own cars down here, and I went over to my building where I keep some of my cars, and I said, I'm going to drive the El Camino, my 71 El Camino that's all customized. And I said, that'd be a good one to take down on a Sunday morning. So I went over, I took my battery charger off of it. I have one of those battery tenders, and started it up, was wiping it down. And so then I walked over, Mike, and I said, you know what? I just got to move the Mercedes out of the way so I can get it out of the way. And darn it, the last time that I drove the Mercedes, I didn't put it on the battery charger. It happened to be blocking the door. So my afternoon is going to be charging that battery up so I can get to all the other cars. And, you know, it's one of those things. Buy a battery charger. It took me years of going through batteries. I don't know how many batteries I've bought.
There's these really good ones now as well. You can get these little battery chargers that are solar powered as well.
I've never seen those.
Yeah, little solar power battery. So it's a little solar power panel. So
okay.
You don't even have to plug it in. You just run the lead out from under the bonnet and put a little panel somewhere on the either in the windscreen if it's parked outside, or on the roof of the car if you've got it in a well lit garage. And
right.
I mean naturally lit garage. You know, lots of garages got perspex ceilings on them, so you can roofs on them, so you get some light in. And it's enough, just enough trickle charge to keep that battery in good health and good condition without having to plug it in.
And they've made them so well now with the circuit board technology like that. They really truly monitor the battery by doing just what the alternator does: bringing it up, bringing it down, letting it recharge those cells. And up until then, they're a little pricey, but you know what? A new battery every 6 months is even more expensive. So go buy one and do that, because they're great. And, you know, the whole thing about it is, you know, being able to use the cars. Because guys who buy these cars and just let them sit in a garage, that's not as much fun.
It's not as much fun.
No.
We had a question in this week, and I've lost his name. That's what I was doing. As Brad was talking, I've lost his name. But it was a great question in this week. It was somebody that said that he's got himself a BMW 3 Series, and he wanted to know, it's an E46 BMW, and it's got a subframe crack on it, and he wanted to know, is that now technically a write-off? Now, this is a good question, actually, because the E46, particularly the M3 BMW, quite a powerful engine, powerful rear end on that car. The subframe does crack, and most people would walk away from that car and think that's a write-off. But actually, because BMW knew that it was a fault with that car many years later, they actually introduced a kit to repair that subframe.
Now, see, I'm learning from you here.
Yeah, so it's a kit. So I do apologise because I can't find your name. I'm unprepared. But yes, you can get a subframe repair kit. And for me, a car buyer who naturally wouldn't buy a car that's written off or damaged in any kind of way and had a cracked subframe, it wouldn't deter me from buying an E46 M3 BMW, because I know it's an indicative fault with that car and it's a fault that's repairable. So when you're going to look for a car and when you're going to find a car, look, as me and Brad have told you, week after week, look at the owners' clubs, look at the forums, look at the user groups, and look at what the indicative problems of that car are, and look to see if the manufacturers supplied a solution for it. Because if they have, it shouldn't deter you from going to buy a car that, say, got a cracked subframe or got something drastically wrong with the engine. If there is a repair for it, the repair is by the manufacturer. That means that they noted it has got a fault and they repaired that fault. Saab had one famously many years ago with the Saab 9.6 convertible and 9.3 convertible. They used to get a cracked firewall, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they actually provided a kit to repair that cracked firewall because they knew that was going to be a problem. So in this instance, thank thank you very much for your question. We do appreciate the questions. Keep them coming in. If you can make your questions to Mike Brewer BTW, send them into either the website or you can send them into our Twitter feed, Mike Brewer BTW. Me and Brad have our best at pulling them out each week and answering them. But in this case, thank you very much for your question. Don't let it deter you from going to buy that car.
And that website address is MikeBrewerBTW@gmail. That way, they're easy to find. He can go right to them, and much more apt that they'll be used on the show.
They will be used on the show. We are so me and Brad we've started this, and we're getting people on Facebook, we're getting people on email, and we're getting people on Twitter. And somewhere during the ether, we get so many they get a little bit scrambled up. So we apologise if we haven't read your question out this week, but please keep asking us, and we will get to it. I promise.
Now back to that BMW. This interests me a lot. Are you familiar with this kit? Have you seen it?
I've not seen the kit, but I tell you what. I like the question so much, it made me go to the computer and start looking up E46 BMW M3s. And I've actually found one that's got a cracked subframe.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I'm thinking of buying it for wheeler dealers to put onto that car show that I do to show that repair and pass on that knowledge, because I think it'd be a good one.
Because I imagine coming from the factory, as you noted, they engineer it. They check it because they don't want it to be a double problem. They want to solve the problem, get that issue resolved. So it's probably a really good plate kit that takes care of that, reinforces it, and as you said, take a deficit, make it into a plus, because you might be able to get a great discount on the car and then fix it.
That's why I think it's a really good tip and a really good bit of advice, because I have found one with a cracked subframe online. And I am specifically targeting that car because it's cheaper, because the guy doesn't know about the kit. And this is a good bit of information that I can pass on to you, the public at home who are listening to this, because I'm not only talking about this with a BMW, this could be across a whole raft of cars. I mean, manufacturers do recalls on cars for reasons, because even though they do tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles of testing, it's not until these cars get into the real world that they really do find that they've got other faults other than the ones that they've tested. So this is That's
a great question.
It is. It's a good question. So thank you very much for bringing it in.
I have a tip for you.
Yes, good. I like a tip.
Okay.
Go on, give it to me.
My tip is that I just saw that they brought a pink box of donuts out.
I know, I've seen that.
And maybe we should walk around, take some pictures of the cars, and enjoy the show. What do you think?
I think that's a really good idea, via the donut box.
We got to go by and see which donuts are there.
And remember, we're going to breakfast this morning. So
so we'll only have a small donut.
We have a small donut, because this is a pit stop on the way to go and have breakfast. I told you about our breakfast club. It's been fabulous, Brad, to be able to do this from a live event is brilliant. Thank you very much for being a part of it, for being my wingman, sitting in that passenger seat and cruising down the Pacific Coast Highway with me. Me and Brad are now going to shout out some addresses. If you want to keep in touch with us, please do on Twitter at Mike Brewer BTW. On Facebook, we are at it's on Facebook. It's just Mike Brewer BTW, isn't it?
They're all Mike Brewer BTW. Made it really easy.
And on the website, you go to mikebrewerbtw.com. And if you want to email us, again, it's mikebrewerbtw@gmail.com. Really, really simple.
And Mike, in case they make a mistake, if they want to put MikeBrewerBehindTheWheel.com, it's going to go to the same place.
Of course it is. And Brad, if we want to get in touch with you?
You can find me on social media at Brad Fanshaw, except Instagram, where I post lots of great photos, and it's just at BonSpeedBrad.
And don't forget, to support this week's podcast, go to our gallery on the website. You're going to see an arrangement of pictures that Brad's now going to walk around as the sun's come out and take of these cars. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to Mechanic for supporting us this week. And we'll be back next time with some more news, some more gossip, some more Brits behind the wit. And I like that, Brit behind the wit.
Brit behind the wit.
Yes, good one, isn't it? And a little bit more goofing off with my good buddy, Mr. Brad Fanshaw.
Hey, thanks, Mike. And everybody, as we said before, please go to iTunes, hit that subscribe button, and then give us a 5-star rating, because that helps us. The people like Mechanic, they look at that. So we need your support. Thanks so much.
See you later. Yeah, in the words of me, ta-la.
This show brought to you in part by BonSpeed Wheels. BonSpeed Wheels, machined in America for cars, trucks, hot rods, and exotics. We make wheels for your lifestyle. Find us at bonspeedwheels.com.
If you need to get in touch with me or Brad, you can do. Ask us any question you like about motoring issues or a motoring related thing. If you've got something that you want to do to your car and you don't know how to do it, you want to sell your car, you want to advertise your car, you want to buy a car and you need some advice, then please reach out to us. You can find us on Twitter at Mike Brewer BTW. See what we did there? Genius.
Is that for behind the wheel?
It is. There you go.
Wow, how did you come up with that?
It's so good, isn't it? And we'll see you all next week.
This has been a Bondspeed Media production from Circle B Studios. If you like this show, also listen to Shift and Steer, Man Seeks Adventure, and Dixon's Wild Ride. You can subscribe to them on iTunes or visit their websites. If you'd like to reach Bondspeed Media, you can do so at bondspeedmedia@gmail.com.